The moment I felt his hands around my throat, I knew I wasn't making it to that altar alive. "If you ever try to leave me," Marcus whispered, his breath hot against my ear as his fingers tightened, "I'll hunt you down and make you wish you were dead." Then he kissed my forehead gently, like a benediction, and released me. The red marks from his fingers would fade before morning. The terror wouldn't. 7 days until our wedding. 7 days until I became Mrs. Marcus Blackwood, wife to the son of Boston's most powerful real estate mogul. 7 days until the business merger my stepmother had orchestrated would be complete. 7 days to escape a death sentence disguised as a wedding. 3 months earlier, I had been Eliza Sullivan, 24-year-old photography assistant with dreams of opening my own studio. Daughter of a brilliant professor who died too young, leaving me in the care of the trophy wife he'd married after my mother's death. A woman who viewed me primarily as an inconvenient line item on her budget. "Absolutely not," Victoria said when I showed her the lease for a small studio space. We sat in her immaculate kitchen where nothing was ever actually cooked. "Your father's estate was clear. Your trust fund doesn't mature until you're 30 or married." "I'm not asking for my trust fund. I've saved enough for the deposit. Don't be ridiculous." She sipped her green juice, eyeing me over the rim. "That little job of yours barely covers your student loans. No bank will approve this lease without collateral." "I can get a cosigner." "Who? Those artsy friends who can't afford their own rent?" Her perfect eyebrow arched. "Besides, Richard and I are selling the house. It's too large now that it's just the two of us." My stomach dropped. "What about me?" "You're 24, Elizabeth. Time to stand on your own 2 feet." I hated when she called me Elizabeth. My name was Eliza, always had been. "Where am I supposed to go?" Victoria set down her glass, a small smile forming. "Actually, I've been meaning to discuss something with you. Richard's new business partner has a son about your age, Harvard Business School graduate, very successful, very handsome. Victoria, Marcus Blackwood. The Blackwoods are Boston royalty. Old money. Richard needs this partnership to go through. And well," she shrugged delicately, "Malcolm Blackwood is rather traditional. Values family connections." The realization hit me like ice water. "Are you seriously trying to set me up as part of a business deal?" "Don't be crude." She slid a photo across the table. "Look at him. Women throw themselves at Marcus. You should be grateful." The man in the photo was undeniably handsome. Dark hair, sharp jawline, confident smile. The kind of man who knew exactly how attractive he was. "I'm not interested." "It's just dinner, Elizabeth. Thursday at 7. Wear the blue dress. I bought you for Christmas." She stood up, conversation over. "Oh, and if anyone asks, you work in arts administration, not as someone's assistant." I wanted to argue, but the reality of my situation crushed the protest in my throat. My father's will had left me financially dependent until 30, a decision made when he was already sick, influenced by Victoria's concerns about my irresponsible artistic tendencies. With the house being sold, I had nowhere to go and no way to afford Boston rents. Just dinner, I told myself. I could survive one dinner. Little did I know I was walking straight into a trap. Marcus Blackwood was charm personified that first night. He arrived with flowers, peonies my favorite, though I never discovered how he knew. He listened attentively as I reluctantly shared details about my photography. He asked thoughtful questions. He made me laugh. "Your stepmother has been singing your praises for weeks," he said over dessert. "Now I see why." "Victoria, singing my praises?" I couldn't hide my surprise. "She's very proud of you, says you're exceptionally talented." That didn't sound like Victoria at all. She'd spent the past 5 years reminding me that photography was a hobby, not a career. "I'd love to see your work sometime," Marcus continued, his blue eyes fixed intently on mine. Something warm unfurled in my chest. When was the last time someone had expressed genuine interest in my photography? My friends tried, but they didn't really understand my obsession with composition and light. "I'd like that," I said, surprising myself with my sincerity. After dinner, we walked along the waterfront. The night was cool, stars obscured by city lights. Marcus offered me his jacket. Our fingers brushed. I felt a flutter of something that Might have been attraction. I'm not what you expected, am I? He asked suddenly. What do you mean? I know why you agreed to this dinner, Eliza. His tone was gentle, understanding. Our parents' business arrangement. You thought I'd be some entitled trust fund brat? I blushed. That's not... It's okay. He laughed. I thought you'd be a gold digger, if we're being honest. Victoria described you as... What was it? Artistic, but pragmatic. Wow. That's actually nicer than most things she says about me. He stopped walking, turned to face me. I'm glad we were both wrong. The kiss, when it came, felt inevitable. His lips were soft, the pressure perfect. My first thought was, this isn't terrible. My second thought, maybe Victoria did something right for once. That night, I texted my best friend, Sophie. Had dinner with Stepmother's setup. Not a complete disaster. Might see him again. Her response, pics, or it didn't happen. I sent her Marcus's Instagram. Her reply came seconds later. Holy shit, that's Marcus Blackwood. Eliza, he dated my cousin's roommate. Bad news, call me now. I didn't call. I turned off my phone and went to bed, dreaming of blue eyes and possibilities. First red flag, ignored. The courtship was a whirlwind. Second date, symphony, where he knew everyone. Third date, his family's private box at a Red Sox game. Fourth date, a helicopter ride to his family's summer home in Newport. Isn't this a bit much? I asked as we flew over the coastline. Nothing's too much for you. He squeezed my hand. I want to show you my world. His world was seductive. Doors opened. Resources appeared. When I mentioned needing new equipment for a project, an expensive camera arrived the next day. When I talked about a gallery I admired, we were invited to a private showing. You don't have to buy me things, I said after the third lavish gift. I want to. He tucked my hair behind my ear. You deserve beautiful things, Eliza. No one had ever treated me like this. Like I was precious, valued. With my mother dead and my father gone, Victoria's coldness had become my normal. Marcus's attention was like water in a desert. I didn't notice how he subtly redirected my career ambitions, from I want my own studio to maybe I'll curate instead of create. I didn't recognize how he positioned himself as the solution to every problem. I was too blinded by finally feeling chosen. Sophie tried again. Eliza, please just listen. Megan says he's controlling, possessive. Things got weird. People exaggerate when relationships end. I dismissed. Besides, he's nothing but supportive. Just be careful, okay? You worry too much, I told her, not knowing those words would haunt me. 6 weeks into our relationship, Victoria invited us both to dinner. Richard and Marcus's father, Malcolm, were there too. The air hummed with anticipation. Elizabeth, Malcolm raised his glass. I must say, you're everything Marcus described. A true beauty with brains. Thank you, I murmured, uncomfortable with his appraising gaze. The Sullivans and Blackwoods, Richard announced. 2 great families joining forces. Victoria's smile was sharp as a knife. Not just in business. I frowned, confused, until Marcus stood up, champagne glass in hand. I have an announcement to make. The world narrowed to a single point as he reached into his pocket and dropped to one knee. Eliza Sullivan, these past weeks have been the happiest of my life. I know it's fast, but when you find the one you know. He opened a velvet box, revealing a diamond the size of a small country. Will you marry me? Time froze. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. We'd never discussed marriage. We hadn't even said, I love you. 6 weeks. We'd been dating 6 weeks. Victoria's eyes bored into me. Malcolm watched expectantly. Richard looked relieved. I felt Marcus's hand tighten around mine, a gentle warning. His smile didn't waver, but something in his eyes hardened. Eliza? He prompted. Darling? This is so unexpected. Say yes, Victoria urged, her voice brittle with command. Later, I'd remember this as the moment I should have run. Instead, surrounded by expectant faces, caught in the perfectly orchestrated trap, I heard myself say, yes. The table erupted in cheers. Marcus kissed me possessively while cameras flashed. Apparently, Victoria had hired a photographer for the spontaneous moment. Within hours, our engagement was in the Globe's society pages. That night, alone in my room, I stared at the massive diamond weighing down my hand. What had I done? This wasn't me. This wasn't my life. I called Sophie but got voicemail. I texted, "Need to talk. Got engaged." Her response came hours later. "What the fuck, Eliza? Call me." But by then, Victoria had already booked the venue, hired the wedding planner, and scheduled the engagement photo shoot. The machine was in motion, and Marcus... Something had changed. The mask slipped for the first time when we returned to his penthouse after the dinner. "You hesitated," he said quietly, pouring himself a scotch. I was surprised. We never talked about marriage. "You embarrassed me in front of my father." His voice remained calm, reasonable. "Do you know how that felt?" "I didn't mean to. This is just happening very fast." He approached, cupping my face with surprising gentleness. "I know what you need, what's best for you. You've been lost, Eliza. Let me guide you. We're going to have an amazing life together." His words should have been comforting. Instead, they sent a chill down my spine. "I should go home," I whispered. "This is your home now." He gestured around the penthouse. "I've already spoken with Victoria. We'll collect your things tomorrow." "You... what? I can't just move in without what? Discussion?" His laugh held no humor. "We're engaged, Eliza. This is how it works." His eyes narrowed. "Unless you've changed your mind?" The threat was subtle but clear. My father's house was being sold. My trust fund was inaccessible. My job barely covered expenses. Where would I go? What would I do? "No," I said, feeling the trap close around me. "I haven't changed my mind." His smile returned, bright and charming. "Good girl. Now, let's celebrate properly." In bed that night, his lovemaking held an edge I hadn't felt before, a possessiveness, a marking of territory. Every kiss felt like a claim, every touch a reminder, "You are mine now." I told myself it was passion, excitement. I was wrong. The weeks that followed were a blur of wedding preparations, society events, and strategic appearances. Victoria took control, dismissing my preferences with practiced efficiency. Roses, not wildflowers. Traditional, not bohemian. Designer, not vintage. My voice grew smaller each day. When I suggested inviting my photography colleagues, Victoria vetoed it. The guest list is for connections, not sentimentality. When I mentioned keeping my last name professionally, Marcus frowned. A Blackwood doesn't use another man's name. When I tried discussing a prenup with my own lawyer, he exploded. "You think I'm after your money? Your pathetic trust fund?" It was our first real fight. His face transformed into something I didn't recognize, jaw rigid, eyes cold. He hurled his glass against the wall, shattering it inches from my head. I should have left then. But he collapsed, into tears moments later, begging forgiveness, swearing it would never happen again. Blaming stress, his father's expectations, his fear of losing me. "You're everything to me, Eliza. I'd die without you." I believed him. God help me. I believed him. Sophie was persistent. She kept calling, texting, even showed up at the penthouse one day. "This isn't you," she insisted as we sat in a cafe, Marcus's driver waiting conspicuously nearby. "Quitting your job? Moving in after 6 weeks? That rock on your finger could pay off my student loans." "You don't understand. He takes care of me." Takes care or controls you? When's the last time you picked up your camera? When's the last time you went anywhere without his permission? It's not like that. Megan's cousin said he tracked her phone. Called her 30 times a day. Got violent when she tried to break it off. I bristled. That's a lie. Marcus would never hurt me. Then why is his driver watching us right now? Why did you check your phone 6 times in 10 minutes? Why do you... Look terrified every time it buzzes? I left without finishing my coffee. Reported back to Marcus that Sophie was being dramatic again. Watched his jaw unclench when I suggested maybe I shouldn't see her until after the wedding. Second red flag, ignored. 3 weeks before the wedding, Victoria threw us an engagement party at the Blackwood Estate, a sprawling mansion north of Boston. Old money dripped from every chandelier. The city's elite circled like sharks, welcoming me with air kisses and assessing eyes. Such a quick engagement, one society matron commented. How modern. Marcus always knows what he wants, another replied. Just like his father. I smiled until my face hurt, played the role of besotted fiancé. The perfect Victoria Sullivan production. The bathroom provided my only escape. I locked the door, pressed my forehead against cool marble, and tried to breathe. My phone buzzed, a text from Sophie. Still here if you need me. Before I could respond, a knock startled me. Just a minute, I called, quickly wiping away tears I hadn't realized were falling. It's me. A woman's voice, unfamiliar. Cassandra Blackwood, Marcus's sister. I opened the door reluctantly. Cassandra was striking. Same blue eyes as Marcus, but sharper, more perceptive. We'd only met briefly. She lived in London and had flown in for the party. You're hiding, she observed, slipping inside and relocking the door. Just needed a moment. She studied me with unsettling intensity. You don't know me, and I don't know you. But I know my brother. Something in her tone made me pay attention. Marcus has always been... She chose her words carefully. Possessive of what he considers his. Since we were children. He's protective, I defended weakly. Is that what you... call it? She leaned against the sink. Did he tell you about Rebecca? His college girlfriend? He mentioned her. Did he mention the restraining order? My heart skipped. What? Or Stephanie, his last fiancée. He's never been engaged before. The words sounded hollow even as I said them. Cassandra's smile held no warmth. That's what he told you, isn't it? Ask him about Zurich 2020. Ask why she broke it off 2 weeks before the wedding. Why are you telling me this? Because I've seen this pattern before. She reached into her clutch, removed a business card. My number, if you need it. I don't... Take it. She pressed it into my hand. And Eliza? My brother doesn't lose gracefully. Be careful. She left me standing there, card burning in my palm, doubt blooming like poison. That night, I casually mentioned Stephanie. The change was instantaneous. Marcus's face darkened, muscles tensing. Who told you that name? I just heard someone mention, fucking Cassandra. He hurled his phone across the room. My sister never could keep her mouth shut. So it's true? You were engaged before? It was nothing, a mistake. She was unstable, obsessive, had to get authorities involved when she wouldn't let go. The story sounded rehearsed, too similar to what he'd told me about Rebecca. The restraining order was against her then? Not you? His eyes narrowed. What exactly did Cassandra tell you? Nothing specific, just mentioned Stephanie and Zurich. And you immediately assumed the worst about me. He stepped closer, voice dangerously soft. After everything I've done for you. I didn't assume anything. I just asked. You could have. Asked me! His shout made me flinch. Instead, you listen to lies from my bitter sister? You think I'm some kind of monster? No, I just... His hand shot out, gripping my wrist painfully. You think you can humiliate me? After I rescued you from... that pathetic life? Given you everything? Marcus, you're hurting me. He released me abruptly, rage dissolving into remorse. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. It's just... Stephanie nearly destroyed me. The thought of losing you the same way... I should have run then. Instead, I comforted him as he wept, promising I wasn't going anywhere. Another red flag, ignored. 2 weeks before the wedding, my wedding dress arrived. Custom Vera Wang, Victoria's choice naturally. As the seamstress fussed with the hem, I caught Victoria watching me with something like triumph. Perfect, she declared. Marcus won't be able to take his eyes off you. Yes, it's beautiful. The words tasted like ash. Later, as she wrote yet another check for yet another wedding expense, I finally asked the question that had been haunting me. Why did you push for this match so hard? Victoria set down her pen, considering me with cool assessment. Would you believe love? No. Smart girl. She smiled thinly. Did you know your father's company was nearly bankrupt when he died? All those medical bills, experimental treatments. He kept it from you, of course. My blood ran cold. What? Richard has been keeping the business afloat, but we needed investment. Malcolm Blackwood was willing, but on certain conditions. I was the condition, I whispered. Don't be melodramatic. The Blackwoods value family connections. Malcolm wanted Marcus settled with someone appropriate. You're educated, presentable, from a good family. She shrugged. Marriage has been a business. Arrangement for centuries. At least you got a handsome one. So my trust fund, the house sale, necessary pressure points. Not even a hint of remorse. You needed direction, Elizabeth. This match solves everyone's problems. Except mine. Your problems are childish fantasies. Photography studios and artistic freedom, she scoffed. Grow up! Marcus can give you security, status, children. Real purpose. I looked at this woman, my father's widow, my legal guardian, and felt nothing but ice in my veins. Did you ever care about me at all? I kept my promise to your father. I found you a future. She returned to her checkbook. That's more care than most get in this world. 1 week before the wedding, I finally saw the monster behind the mask. It started with a text from Sophie. Please tell me you're reconsidering. Found something you need to see. I'd been avoiding her for weeks, but curiosity won out. I met her at a coffee shop while Marcus was in meetings. I found Rebecca, Sophie said without preamble, sliding a folder across the table. Marcus's ex, the one with the restraining order? Sophie, please, I can't do this now. You need to. Her eyes were fierce with worry. She's in Seattle now, changed her name, had to move 3 times because he kept finding her. That's not... She has... Police reports, Eliza, hospital records. Sophie tapped the folder. And she's not the only one. I found Stephanie, too. My hands trembled as I opened the folder. Inside were printed emails, police reports, and photographs. A woman with a bruised face, medical reports documenting broken ribs, concussion, defensive wounds. This could be anyone, I protested weakly. Look at the dates, the names. Rebecca filed 3 reports before police took her seriously. By then, Marcus had convinced everyone she was unstable, self-harming for attention. He said she was obsessive, wouldn't let go. Abusers always flip the script, make the victim sound crazy. Sophie reached for my hand. Stephanie broke it off after he put her in the hospital. His father paid her to disappear, keep quiet. That's why Cassandra warned. Me, I whispered. You've seen signs already, haven't you? Sophie's voice softened. The control, the isolation, the rage. I couldn't speak. Every red flag I'd ignored flashed before me. The possessiveness, the monitoring, the explosive anger followed by desperate remorse. The way he'd systematically cut me off from friends, jobs, ambitions. I have a plan, Sophie continued. My cousin in Chicago has an apartment. I've got a train ticket with your name on it. We go tonight. I can't just leave. The wedding, Victoria, the contracts. Fuck the contracts. This is your life. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Where are you? Driver says you left the approved location. Then another. Come home. Now. My stomach twisted. He's tracking me. Of course he is. Sophie's voice was grim. Are you coming with me or not? I stared at the phone, the photos, my friend's desperate face. Made my decision. I need a few days. To get things in order. Eliza, I'll meet you Thursday, 3 days before the wedding, I promise. I returned to the penthouse prepared to lie, to play the dutiful fiancé for just a little longer. Marcus was waiting, face like thunder. Where were you? Just coffee with Sophie. Wedding jitters. I forced a smile. Girls talk. You're lying. His voice was deadly calm. I called the cafe. They said you were looking at files, papers. My blood froze. You're having me watched? I'm protecting what's mine. He moved closer. What did she show you? Nothing. Just wedding ideas. His laugh was chilling. More lies. His hand shot out, grabbing my purse, dumping its contents. Sophie's folder fell out. I hadn't been able to leave it behind. Time slowed as he opened it, saw the photos, the reports. His face transformed, not with shame or remorse, but with pure, concentrated rage. You went behind my back. His voice was barely recognizable. Conspired with that bitch to humiliate me. Marcus, please, after everything I've done for you. He hurled the folder, papers flying everywhere. You were nothing before me, living off scraps from your stepmother, playing at being a photographer. He advanced, backing me against the wall. You think you can leave me? Like those other whores? You're mine, Eliza. The invitations are sent. The contracts signed. I haven't done anything. I whispered, terror closing my throat. I just asked questions. That's when I felt his hands around my throat for the first time. Strong, relentless, cutting off my air. If you ever try to leave me, he whispered, I'll hunt you down and make you wish you were dead. As suddenly as it began, it ended. He released me, watching me gasp for air with detached interest. Then gently, tenderly, he kissed my forehead. Clean this up, he said, gesturing to the scattered papers. And don't ever contact Sophie again. You understand? I nodded, unable to speak. Say it. I understand. Good girl. He straightened his tie. We have dinner with my parents at 8. Wear the blue dress. When he left, I crumpled to the floor, gasping, terrified, finally seeing the truth. This wasn't a wedding. It was a death sentence. The next day, I became the perfect fiancé. Docile, agreeable, excited about our future. I attended dress fittings, smiled for photographers, laughed at Marcus's jokes. I deleted Sophie's number in front of him, blocked her on social media, all while the bruises around my neck darkened beneath carefully applied makeup, all while I formulated my escape. Marcus relaxed, believing he'd broken me. His watchfulness eased slightly. Not enough to give me freedom, but enough to create the tiniest openings. I memorized his schedule. Identified the moments he was most distracted. Studied the patterns of his security detail. I had 3 opportunities to contact Cassandra before the wedding. The first was through a bathroom attendant at a restaurant. A hastily scribbled note with her number begging for help. The second was through a delivery man bringing wedding gifts, another note, more desperate. The third was a coded message through her assistant, arranging to meet secretly. Cassandra came through. We met in the changing room of an upscale boutique, security cameras disabled for maintenance. I needed proof before, she said, eyes fixed on the finger-shaped bruises I revealed. Now I have it. Help me get out, I begged. I'll disappear. Go anywhere. She shook her head. Disappearing won't work. He'll find you, like the others. Then what? You need to destroy him publicly, where his money and connections can't protect. Him. The wedding, I whispered, the plan forming. The wedding, she confirmed, with every powerful family in Boston watching. The final days were agony, playing the blushing bride while planning my explosive exit. Marcus grew more possessive as the wedding approached, keeping me under constant surveillance. But he'd underestimated one thing. My quiet rebellion had been brewing since childhood with Victoria. I'd learned to hide in plain sight. With Cassandra's help, I gathered evidence. The security footage from the penthouse showing Marcus's attack. The medical records from the private doctor who'd examined my bruises, sworn to confidentiality but secretly documenting everything. The testimonies from Rebecca and Stephanie, finally willing to speak with Cassandra's assurance of protection. Sophie had gone underground after Marcus's men had visited her apartment, but managed to send one final message through a mutual friend. Whatever happens, I'm with you. The night before the wedding, I lay beside my abuser, counting his breaths as he slept. I thought about Victoria, who'd sold me for financial security. About Richard, who'd looked the other way. About Malcolm, who'd raised a monster and protected him. I thought about all the women who'd been here before me, who'd tried to speak and been silenced. Dawn broke. Wedding day. The machine lurched into motion. Hairstylists, makeup artists, coordinators, Victoria's ever-present supervision. Cold feet? She asked, noting my pallor. Just nervous. It's normal. Her voice almost softened. The Blackwoods are a powerful family you'll want for nothing, except freedom, except safety, except the chance to live without fear. The cathedral was Boston's oldest, grandest. 800 guests filled the pews, politicians, executives, socialites, a governor, 2 senators, countless influencers. Marcus had insisted on a spectacle. I had agreed, for very different reasons. As I stood in the antechamber, white gown suffocating me, I received the text from Cassandra. It's done. My hand trembled as I typed back, I'm ready. The wedding march began. Doors opened. My stepfather waited to walk me down the aisle, a stand-in for the father who'd never imagined this future for me. You look beautiful, Richard said awkwardly. Your father would be proud. I doubted that very much. 800 faces turned as I began my walk. At the altar, Marcus waited, resplendent in his tuxedo, triumphant smile firmly in place. He'd won, or so he thought. I moved like a ghost, floating, down the aisle smiling vacantly. One step, another. The faces blurred. Halfway down, I stopped. A murmur rippled through the cathedral. Richard tugged my arm. Eliza, he hissed, keep moving. Instead, I turned to face the congregation. I'm sorry for the interruption. My voice rang out, surprisingly steady. But there's something you should see before this wedding proceeds. I nodded toward the back. The cathedral's massive screens, installed for better viewing of the ceremony, flickered to life. Cassandra had done her part perfectly. The footage began. Marcus, enraged, attacking me. My bruised neck, documented by the doctor. Rebecca's testimony. Stephanie's hospital photos. The restraining orders. The police reports. The payoffs. This is the man I was sold to, I continued as gasps echoed through the cathedral. This is what happens behind closed doors. Chaos erupted. Victoria was shrieking. Malcolm Blackwood lunged forward, only to be blocked by Cassandra's security detail. Marcus's face contorted with the same rage I'd seen in private, now publicly, displayed for all to witness. You bitch! He screamed, lunging toward me. I'll fucking kill you! The threat, captured by dozens of cameras, live-streamed to thousands of followers, sealed his fate. As security dragged him away, I faced the stunned crowd one last time. I was told this marriage was a business arrangement. Perhaps it's time. We examined the cost of doing business with monsters. I walked back up the aisle alone, head high, leaving my bouquet on the steps. Outside, away from cameras, Sophie waited in the getaway car we'd planned. Holy shit, she breathed as I climbed in. You actually did it. Drive, I said, heart hammering. Just drive. The aftermath was nuclear. The scandal dominated headlines for weeks. Marcus was arrested, then released on bail, then arrested again. For violating the restraining order I'd immediately filed. Malcolm's business empire crumbled as investors fled the toxic association. Victoria and Richard faced social ostracism and financial ruin when their role in the arrangement came to light. Me? I disappeared for a while, changed my name, moved across the country with Sophie's help, started therapy, picked up my camera again. 6 months later, I testified at Marcus's trial, watched him sentenced to 8 years for assault and battery, criminal threats, and stalking. The judge specifically cited the wedding video as evidence of his true, uncontrolled nature. Rebecca and Stephanie testified too, finally believed after years of being dismissed as crazy exes. We formed a strange sisterhood, survivors of the same abuser. Cassandra reached out regularly, making amends for her family's sins with financial support for abuse survivors. She'd known what her brother was for years but had never had enough evidence to stop him. "You did what I couldn't," she told me. "You ended the cycle." My trust fund was eventually released, ironically thanks to a legal loophole. My brief engagement qualified as a marriage contract under the antiquated terms of my father's will. I opened my photography studio in Seattle, specialized in portraits of domestic violence survivors, capturing their strength, their resilience, their reclaimed power. Victoria tried contacting me once, claiming she never knew how dangerous Marcus was. I didn't believe her. Some bridges stay burned. Sometimes I think about that cathedral, those 800 witnesses to my almost wedding. How many of them had their own secrets? How many lived with private monsters, smiling through gritted teeth? The diamond ring was sold, proceeds donated to shelters. The wedding dress went to an art installation about domestic violence. The only thing I kept was a single photograph, me walking away from the altar, back straight, head high. Freedom isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's messy, public, scandalous. Sometimes it requires burning everything to the ground and walking away from the ashes. But I lived. I survived. And somewhere in Boston, a man with perfect charm and violent hands waits in a cell, counting the days until release. Perhaps wondering if I'll still be there, still be watching, when he finally emerges. I will be. Because the most important lesson I learned? Monsters don't stop. They just find new victims. Unless someone stops them first.